Hello, I'm Beth Joey and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, welcome. This is the channel where I paint my face, turn my camera on and talk about some books. Do you ever have those times where you've been like working really hard or you've been getting up really early every morning and then you get to the weekend and you actually get like a cold or something because of how exhausted you are? If you have, then I am right there with you right now. I am so exhausted, so tired, and I'm so sniffly and like clogged and everything's just like clogged up in my nose and my head, and oh, it's not fun, but we are putting on a brave face, we are putting on a smile because one, I need to get a ton of packing done today because I'm about to move house, and two, Becca's 48-hour BOOKOPLATHON is this weekend, which I have been super excited to join ever since she announced the video. It'll be my first BOOKOPLATHON of hers to join since I started BookTube. So yeah, this vlog is just going to be my experience doing Becca's BOOKOPLATHON, the 48-hour readathon. I know I should be going like super hard at it, like staying up the full 48 hours because it's my first one, like I wanted to get really into it, but because I've got so much packing to do and because I'm so tired, I'm just going to more casually be joining this readathon. So you're probably wondering, what am I reading at the moment? Because this BOOKOPLATHON started last night at midnight, and then the roll drop was actually I think a couple weeks ago, so that you could kind of plan out at least the first couple of books that you wanted to read. Because I am doing this readathon more casually, my book links to the prompts are a little bit more vague, especially because I've packed the majority of my books already, so I just kind of have to work with what I've got at the moment, and that is not very much. So the first two prompts in Becca's first two roll drops were a book under 300 pages or a short book, and then the gods prompt. So that's a book with gods or godlike characters, artificial intelligence, like that sort of thing. You can really stretch these, and for me, stretching is what I have done, and I have decided to count Kingdom of the Wicked by Kerri Maniscalco as my first book. I started this a couple of days ago, but I'm not actually that far in, so I will be reading most of this for the readathon. As for what the book's about, it follows Amelia and Victoria, who are both witches. They're living secretly among humans, avoiding notice and persecution because there are witch hunters, until one night Amelia stumbles on Victoria's dead body, desecrated beyond belief, and so she vows to seek vengeance against the person that killed her, even if it means using some dark magic that has long since been forgotten and is well and truly banned within her family. In the process of trying to avenge her sister, Amelia meets Wrath, who is one of the Wicked. The Wicked are princes of hell that Amelia has been warned against since she was a child, but she decides to anyway kind of force Wrath's help, and they are tasked with solving a number of mysterious murders on the island, including her own sisters. So the connection to these prompts is that Wrath is obviously a prince of hell, and there is a lot of mentions of the devil, so it kind of links back to gods in a way because it's like the opposite of gods, and then obviously there are creatures with immense power in this. So that is my link to the roll prompt. And then as far as I'm aware, in this readathon, you don't actually have to meet all of the prompts. You can just meet as many of them as you can during the 48 hours, because if you try to read all of them, then you might end up having to read like 8 books, and that's too hard. So I'm only going to really focus on that one prompt in this book, though this is only like 368 pages. So I, in my personal opinion, would count it as a short book. So if you're with me on that, then we're gonna count it as a short book. If you're not, then pretend I didn't say anything. But yeah, I'm about 50 pages into this book. I'm enjoying it so far, so I'm going to keep reading, and I will update you guys in a bit once I've read a bit more of the book to give you my thoughts. So I have just finished Kingdom of the Wicked by Kerri Maniscalco, and the second roll has dropped, which I will tell you about in a quick second. But I will admit, when I finished this book and I was writing my review in my little From Blood and Ash, I think it was Fairy Loot or Illumicrate that got me this. Anyway, when I was writing down my review, I really struggled to think of anything to write, and it's nothing to do with this book. It's predominantly because my brain just has not turned on today. I feel like I didn't absorb this as much as I wanted to, and I feel like a lot of the issues that I had when I was writing my review were because I was just really struggling to absorb any of the content. So this might be one of those books where I read again later and my review and my thoughts and my star rating completely changes because I will be more awake presumably next time I read this. But for now, we're just gonna go with what I initially thought, and that was was 3 stars for this. As I said before, I spent 99% of this book really confused. I felt like the characters would constantly swap back and forth when drawing conclusions, hypotheticals, ideas, anything like that about who killed Victoria. And there were just a lot of names and species and laws and rules and exceptions to the rules to remember. So I felt like I just didn't absorb any of it, and it was more just I'm going to read this and enjoy it rather than try and understand it. But I will say that a real highlight for this book for me was the relationship between Wrath and Amelia. I found their banter quite entertaining, quite fun, and there was definitely a lot of tension to be felt between them. So when the tension finally breaks, because as everybody knows, this is a bit of a fantasy romance, when that tension finally breaks, you really feel it, and it gives you a weird kind of rush because you're like, finally, like I've been waiting for this moment and it's finally happened and the tension's broken. But it still kept up that sort of high stakes throughout the rest of the book. So it's not like the tension breaks and you lose interest. It's like the tension breaks, but there's so many other things in there that keep you hooked. I also really love that it felt like I was learning about Amelia's world right there alongside her, because she'd been so hesitant to believe anything that her nonna had told her, and she'd been so judgmental about a lot of it. So she really was in the dark about a lot of things because she just hadn't believed any of it was true. Like I said, Kerry Maniscalco did an amazing job at drawing out tension and suspense to the point where in certain moments I would feel like my heart flutter, or I'd feel my stomach sink or something like that, because something had happened that was particularly major for one of the characters, like a big reveal towards the end. The pacing I think was really great too. There was never a slow or boring moment. I just felt myself flicking the pages, not really being aware of time passing or anything. Like, it's been a couple of hours and I've finished this, and it didn't feel like a couple of hours at all. So if I was rating based on enjoyment, I think this would be 5 stars, but purely based on the fact that I didn't understand a lot of it and therefore consciously made the decision to not try and understand, this is only going to get a 3 from me. Going into the second roll drop, there were again 2 prompts for this one. So the first prompt was an ebook or an audiobook, and the second prompt was a book with a color in the title. Now, I don't currently have any books with a color in the title on me at the moment. They've all been packed away except for one, which is Delilah Green Doesn't Care, and that one is one that I really want to save it for the Whatever-thon. If you want to know more about that book, check out my TBR video for Whatever-thon, which I will link up above and down below. So I'm gonna save that for that. But what I do have is an audiobook, and I am going to beg you guys to not judge me when I pull this book out. Now, when I played my Snakes and Ladder TBR game for May, which I will link up above and down below, so do go and check that out, I picked a total of 8 books, and I am now onto my last book for that game, and it's only like the 21st of May, so I'm pretty impressed at having read so many books so quickly. But the last book is After by Anna Todd. So this is what we're going to be reading for the rest of today. I'm going to speed it up, listen to it on my audiobook, see if I can finish it today, because it's one of those really quick, easy reads. But the great thing about this prompt being done now is that I have a ton of packing to do, so I'm going to pack up my entire kitchen while I listen to After by Anna Todd, and it's just going to be one of those books where you just don't have to pay much attention, and I think that's great. As for what After is about, it follows Tessa, who is sort of the perfect girl. She's got the perfect boyfriend, the perfect family, the perfect life, and she's just graduated from high school and she's going into university or college, I think they call it in the US, for the first time. She's kind of set on a very certain path with a very overbearing mother and obviously her boyfriend back home, until one day she meets Harden, a very complicated English guy who excites her and irritates her more than anyone else. They kind of start up a relationship, or at least a rapport, based on their love of literary fiction, and despite the reckless way he treats her and all his many lies, Tessa is determined to dig deeper and find out what lies beneath the facade Harden is presenting. So that is the book that I'm going to be reading next. As I said, I'm going to be packing and listening to my audiobook while I read it, so I will see you guys probably when I finish it, because this doesn't seem like one of the books where you analyze it throughout. You just sit and you read it and you enjoy it, and then you move on. So I'll see you guys in a bit. Hey guys, it is Sunday morning. I am so tired because it is like 6:40 in the morning, and Ben insisted that we wake up early because he's apparently taking me somewhere today. But he's not telling me where, so I guess you guys will know when I know. My voice is also super husky because I haven't really had much water yet this morning, so forgive the husky, gross sounding voice. As for my life update, you guys will see that I did a lot of packing yesterday. I packed pretty much the entirety of the kitchen, minus the couple of bits and bobs that I still need for the next like 2 1.5 weeks or so before we move. And as for a reading update, I am 130 pages into After by Anna Todd, and for me this is not a book that I'm going to analyze. It's not a book I'm going to read critically. It is just something that I'm going to read for the enjoyment of reading it. So I don't really know what to tell you guys about this book so far. It is cheesy, it is romantic, it is complicated, it is problematic, it is literally every possible word you could think of that probably relates to this book in some way. In terms of the events that I'm up to in this book, Tessa and Hardin have obviously met and they are having some feelings for each other. Noah, who is Tessa's boyfriend, has just come to visit her, and obviously she's not feeling the sparks between them anymore, so she's constantly thinking of Hardin. And the part where we're at now, Landon has just called Tessa because there's something going on in his house relating to Hardin, and Tessa's really worried, so she's rushing over there to see what's going on, and if it falls anything like it did in the movies, then everybody knows what scene happens next. So yeah, I'm not going to be reading this one critically, so in these updates about this book, it is very much just going to be, what are we up to in the story, what am I thinking? And what I'm thinking at the moment is this is enjoyable. It is very, very, very smutty, and you can tell that it's not written amazingly well because there are a few inconsistencies, there are a few holes. It's not the most amazing book, but it is doing what it needs to do, which is getting me to read something during this weekend and being a really accessible read as well, because obviously I'm reading it via my audiobook, so I can just read it while I do all my packing and stuff. So yeah, this is what I'm reading at the moment. I'm 130 pages in, I'm enjoying it, but it is by no means going to be something I'm going to read critically. So like I said, Ben is taking me out today. He hasn't said what we're doing, where we're going, nothing, so I know absolutely nothing. So I guess I will let you guys know when I know, and I'll bring you guys along, because apparently it is something we have to get to early so that I can bring my camera and film some stuff, and that is all I know about it. So yeah, we'll see. It's been a couple of hours and I am back from the sort of surprise trip that Ben planned this morning, which I've just inserted some clips of. And in case you aren't sure what all of that was, he took me to the Bridgerton house, which is actually in Greenwich, which I thought was so cool. I didn't realize that that was actually filmed so close by to where we are now, but it kind of makes sense considering a lot of other scenes were filmed in Greenwich. Unfortunately, the house itself wasn't open, so we weren't able to go inside, but it was still so cool to see from the outside. And the funniest thing happened as well. Right when we got there, Ben was like attacked by a bee, which I thought was hilarious considering the second season a bee plays quite a pivotal role. It kind of felt weirdly like symbolic or connected or something to the show, I don't know, but it was hilarious when it happened. We were sprinting around in front of the house like absolute mad people trying to avoid the bee, because neither of us have ever been stung before, touch wood. Anyway, I am home now and I'm getting stuck back into reading more of After by Anna Todd. I'm up to like chapter 40 I think, and it's still remaining as cheesy and problematic and everything as ever. Hardin treats Tessa like shit, and then Tessa blames all of her problems on Hardin, so there's just a lot going on in this series, and you can tell that it came back from Wattpad. But yeah, I don't know, I'm still enjoying it as a sort of guilty pleasure book. I think we're up to the part where Noah's just forgiven her after she cheated on him with Hardin basically, but then Hardin's obviously sending all sorts of mixed signals and she's still attracted to him but trying to avoid him, and they're just about to go to a bonfire together, and one can only guess what's going to happen next after that. I don't think the whole Noah and Tessa relationship is going to last much longer anymore. But yeah, I'm just going to keep reading this, and then as for the actual Bookoplathon, we've had roll drop number 3. So the two prompts that we have now are spooky book and YA. I think this is YA, so I guess that kind of relates to that. And then as for spooky book, I'm going to count Kingdom of the Wicked, which I read earlier, towards the sort of spooky book prompt, which I think you're allowed to do. I think you're allowed to like apply prompts to books you've read in the past, so if that's the case, then that one is completely covered because Kingdom of the Wicked is definitely a spooky book. But yeah, we've had roll drop number 3, and I will check in with you guys again once we've had roll drop number 4, and if it means that I'm going to read another book this weekend, I probably won't, because this is quite a long book and I'm not really even halfway through yet, but we will see. Hey guys, it is 6:20 on Sunday and I am going to be ending this vlog here after finishing After by Anna Todd. I really don't think I'm going to pick up another book before the end of this or finish another book before the end of this, so I'm just going to stop things here. I don't know if I updated you guys on Roll Drop 4 and what the prompts for that ended up being, but it ended up being water and feed scroll. So for water, it's just anything with water on the cover, with the colors of water on the cover. So that dropped while I was reading this. This is blue on the cover, so I'm counting it for this. And then for feed scroll, it's to scroll through your feed and pick the first book that comes up that you have available to you. Now your feed is like Instagram or Goodreads or whatever. Obviously, I haven't done that and I'm not going to do that because I know I'm not going to finish whatever book that I find, and I don't have that many books available to me at the moment, so it wouldn't be a very successful mission to do that because they're all packed. I am going to end this vlog here with my thoughts on After by Anna Todd, and that is simply, I don't really have any thoughts on this, which is not how I really wanted this vlog to go. I wanted it to be, you know, thoughts on all the books that I was reading, be my usual vlog where I give you details on my feelings and everything I'm thinking about the moments in the story, but this is one of those books that you don't read with your brain turned on. Like you just read it and you just enjoy it, you don't think about it, and you just, you know, you read it, you finish it, you move on. Obviously, my thoughts on this book are pretty much in line with everybody's thoughts on this book, which are, it is problematic, it is troublesome, it is incredibly toxic, but the smut is fabulous. And that is, I guess, why people read this. The relationship between Hardin and Tessa is obviously very, very problematic in a lot of ways. They have a very passionate relationship, yes, but they also are very, very bad for each other because he has incredible, incredible anger issues and trust issues and commitment issues, and she just basically blames everything that goes wrong in their relationship on him. Sometimes it is his fault, but there are things that she does. She cheats on him and all those sorts of things, and she always pins that on him for some reason. So at the end of the day, it's a story following two very, very immature characters who just aren't ready for the type of relationship that the other person is going to offer them. But the drama is great. Like I said, the smut is great, so it is a good, fun read. I am going to jump into the rest of the books once I unpack them, but for now, I'm going to go and eat my dinner and I'm going to wrap up this vlog. I am sorry that this is not quite the usual vlog that I would do. It was not as in-depth as I would usually like to do, but that is just the way things go when you're trying to pack and move house and organize your life and have a date with your boyfriend all in one weekend, as well as joining a weekend readathon and prepping for whatever-thon. Let me know down below whether you joined Bookoplathon this weekend, what you ended up reading, how many prompts you filled. Let me know if you've read the books that I read, if you love them, if you hate them, if you think there's anything that I missed about them that might change my thoughts on them. As always, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to be notified when I release new content, and I will see you, lovely people, in my next video. Bye!